Hello, my friends. Today we'll start with the situation along the front line. Over the past week, the Ukrainian forces managed to liberate 22 square kilometers and 46 square kilometers, including the gray zone. Meanwhile, Russian forces captured 59 square kilometers and 110 square kilometers, including the gray zone. I want to remind you that these figures come from foreign analysts. They rely on their own sources, so their data may not fully match the map we are reviewing. Still, we can see that the Ukrainian forces have begun reclaiming territory again, something we hadn't seen before. Now, let's move to the situation with the Ukrainian counteroffensive. In the area of the settlement of Pokrovske in the Dnipropetrovsk region, Russian forces have already been pushed back quite significantly. At the same time, Ukrainian forces continue the offensive operations. They are assaulting Verbove, Yegorivka, and Danilivka. However, there have been no confirmed changes there so far. Russian troops are trying to hold their defensive positions while also striking rear areas. Ukrainian soldiers describe the situation this way. Our units have gained a foothold near Vedradne. Fighting continues. The settlement is still under Russian control, but contact is intense. At the same time, the penetration zone south of Verbove is expanding. There is pressure on the flanks and attempts to cut logistical routes in order to force the Russians either to retreat or to become encircled. It's a battle of attrition and initiative. As we can see, in the first days, Ukrainian forces were advancing more actively. Now, moving forward has become much more difficult. Syrskyi also made an official statement confirming that the counteroffensive is ongoing. In the area of Huliaipole, the defense forces are carrying out successful counteroffensive and assault operations, Syrskyi said. The commander-in-chief reported that he is currently working in the combat mission zone along the Alexandrovsky direction and in the Huliaipole area. He also held meetings with the commander of the air assault forces and with commanders of airborne assault and assault units. According to Syrskyi, the operational situation there remains difficult, and the Russians haven't abandoned the attempts to break through Ukrainian defensive lines. At the same time, the defense forces are holding their positions and disrupting Russian plans. Moreover, Ukrainian units are conducting effective counteroffensive and assault operations, efficiently using unmanned systems, artillery, and electronic warfare capabilities. In the Huliaipole area, Ukrainian forces are continuing the attacks. However, Russian troops are not halting the offensive either. Ukrainian soldiers confirm that the village of Tsvetkova is already under Russian control, although this information hasn't been officially confirmed. Systematic tactical reconnaissance work is ongoing. The Russians have dug in and are holding the line along the river, so there is no rapid push beyond the Haichur River. Instead, there is steady, methodical pressure. Tsvetkova is in the red zone. The Russians are still present, but their remaining forces have been localized, and clearing the village is now a practical matter. As we can see, the situation here is also difficult. So far, there have been no new advances. In the Zaporizhzhia direction, Russian forces are increasing their activity and attempting to move closer to the city. They are assaulting Sherbavki, Pavlivka, Lukyanivska, and Stepnohirsk. At the same time, Russian sources claim that Ukrainian forces are continuing their counteroffensive here and are breaking through toward the village of Plavny. As we can see, Ukrainian forces are also conducting counterattacks in this area. The main goal of the Ukrainian counteroffensive here is to prevent Russian troops from advancing closer to Zaporizhzhia. If Russian forces were to push towards Zaporizhzhia, the road to the city of Dnipro would be open, just 55 kilometers away from Zaporizhzhia, and currently about 90 kilometers from the furthest frontline positions. For now, we are watching how the situation develops. In any case, Russian plans in this area have already been disrupted. In the Kherson direction, Russian forces continue shelling without conducting offensive operations. Therefore, the situation there remains stable. And now let's move to the situation along the border. In the Sumy direction, Russian forces have once again intensified the activity. They advance near the villages of Oleksiivka and Yunakivka. However, they have achieved no success there. Further south along the border, they have been able to move forward and create a buffer zone. So yesterday they claimed to have captured the village of Pokrovka and showed their flags inside the settlement. So the situation here is clearly deteriorating, although there has been no official confirmation from the general staff. But we can see that Ukrainian forces are destroying Russian troops with drones in this area. However, counterattacks don't appear to be taking place, and the territory previously captured remains under Russian control. In the Kharkiv direction, Russian forces are also attempting to breach the border near the village of Veterinarne, but so far they have had no success. At the same time, in addition to strikes reported in the Belgorod region, there were reports yesterday of attacks in Russia's Krasnodar region. In the Krasnodar region, after a drone attack, the Ilsky oil refinery is on fire. A fuel storage tank was damaged. The total area of the fire is about 700 square meters. Drone debris also damaged a locomotive depot building. So apparently, not everything is going according to the Kremlin's plan. In the Vovchansk direction, Russian forces are assaulting Vovchansky Hutory and Okhrimivka. However, they have been no new breakthroughs there so far, and all attacks are being successfully repelled. In the area of Veliki Burluk, the situation remains relatively quiet for now, and Russian forces are not conducting new assault operations. In the Kupiansk direction, Russian forces are assaulting Peshane, but without success. Over the past 24 hours, the front line in this area has remained unchanged. In the Borova direction, they are attacking Druzhelyubivka, but Ukrainian forces continue to successfully repel attacks there as well. In the Lyman direction, so assaults on the outskirts of the city are ongoing. Fighting continues for Stavky, and Russian forces are advancing in the area of Drobyshevo. Here, Russian troops are effectively in the final stage of their push. A little more progress, and they could begin to squeeze Lyman from multiple sides. However, for now, Ukrainian forces continue to hold the defense for as long as possible. In the Sloviansk direction, Russian forces are assaulting the village of Kryva Luka, pushing through the fields toward the area of Rai Alexandrivka and toward Dronivka. Despite the high level of activity, Ukrainian forces are still managing to repel all attacks, and the front line remains unchanged. In the Kramatorsk direction, there is currently no major offensive activity. However, Ukrainian soldiers report a growing number of FPV drone strikes targeting the city. They describe the situation as follows. The Russians have significantly increased their forces and capabilities for drone attacks on Kramatorsk, using a wide range of unmanned aerial vehicles, from standard FPV drones to mother drones, Molnia drones, and Shahed-type drones. The situation is worsening with each passing week. Most likely, this activity is linked to the Russian advances in the Chasiv Yar and Siversk directions. After taking the high ground and increasing the number of crews operating relay systems, attacks on the city are no longer just random drones falling from the height of a 5-story building. Now drones can descend to human height and deliberately search for targets. Overall, it appears that yet another city may soon become largely empty. In the Kostyantynivka direction, Russian forces are assaulting the outskirts of the city, as well as Plashivka and Stepanivka, and are pushing toward Mykolaipille. At the same time, Ukrainian soldiers are already releasing videos showing large numbers of Russian troops being eliminated on the southern outskirts of the city. Accordingly, the situation here is also deteriorating very rapidly. In the Dobropilla direction, Russian forces are pushing forward in the area of Torske and assaulting Sofiivka, Kucherev Yar, and Bilitske. However, so far they have been unable to advance any further. But in the Pokrovsk direction, the situation is much worse. Reports indicate that Russian forces have effectively taken full control of Rodinsk, Mirnograd, and Pokrovsk. The Russians have established full control over Pokrovsk. The fighting for the city has ended. Combat operations are currently ongoing in Hryshine. The Russians have also captured Rivne and almost completely control Svitli. In Mirnograd, the Russians are conducting mop-up operations. So we're still waiting for official confirmation, but as we can see, Ukrainian soldiers are reporting very troubling news. And in the Novopavlivka direction, Russian forces are assaulting the city as well as Filia and Ivanivka. However, they haven't been able to advance further, and the front line there remains unchanged. And that's all from me, so please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all the latest news. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Bye bye.